thought I'd just take you out on another ride on my MT-09 because I haven't really talked to you about the MT-09. I was supposed to make a review, sort of just didn't feel like it, didn't really think I had anything extra to add to the bike's already enormous amount of videos on it. So, but I thought, you know what, I've ridden it for 4,600 kilometers, however many miles that is. Oh, this helmet is so tight, I'm having a problem talking. My cheeks are getting squished. Yeah, so I thought I'd just give you a quick, or relatively quick, just walkthrough of the bike and what I think of it and what parts bothers me and what part doesn't bother me. So the tires, from what I've heard, is different from where in the world you are. Stock, this comes with Dunlop Sport Max 214, which is actually pretty good tires. They grip very good, and I have tested them pretty much to the edge of their ability. I have 0 chicken strip on my front tire on the left side and none on either side on my rear tire, so I have actually really been down in the corners with this, and I've never once felt the tire slip. So if they come with the stock Dunlop, I would say the tires are pretty damn good. The front shocks, they're adjustable and they're actually pretty good. I have no issue whatsoever. Unless you're doing track days and you really get that high speed, I don't think these suspensions and shock are gonna be a problem. They seem to do a pretty damn good job. The instruments, or the dash, if you will, the display would probably be the correct word here. Actually, I think I'll take it down here. It works perfect. I mean, I have one complaint, and I think that's the same complaint everyone has, and that's that the quick shifter light is green, so that's a bit confusing. It should not be green. It should be basically any other color except green. When you start the bike and you look down, you think it's in neutral. You know, you look down, think it's in neutral, and it's not in neutral. We're coming to a stoplight or something. Otherwise, I think the display is perfect. I mean, it's sort of cool that it's sort of off-angled, off to the side. I always thought that was really cool. However, it does make the airflow different. So if you don't have a screen on it, and like this jacket has vents on the chest, and I don't get any air into the right vent where this is located. It actually blows the wind over that vent, and to the left I get full ventilation. So you definitely can tell that the bike is uneven in the front when it comes to like the wind. The handlebars, really good. I like the width. The width is perfect. It's like wide enough that you can comfortably control the bike, and not too wide where they sort of stick out into traffic a lot. Also, they're so wide that you can actually just lean forward all the way down and not be like cramped. Mirrors, yeah, they work pretty good. My left mirror, right now I'm wearing like 3 jackets, so because it's really cold. Or not, yeah, super cold. It's like 10 degrees Celsius, but it feels really cold. So I can't really see a lot from like the half of the mirror is just my jacket and the other half is not. But if I just tuck my arms in or lift them up, I can easily see under and to the side of them. So they're actually pretty good mirrors. They don't shake too much. The bike comes with 3 modes. A mode I basically never use. That's probably because I'm never taking the bike to a track. I have tried it a couple of times, like when I do a little bit more of a what should I say, when I do the real twisties and I want to go a bit fast. It's almost like you just have an on and off button for the accelerator. You don't get that fine adjustability of how much throttle you're gonna give. And if you're doing like heavy riding, you don't actually want the rear to be on and off. You want to have some degree of like curvature of the throttle. So standard mode for me is like 90% of the time. I use B mode for cruising, and sometimes if it's like very slow traffic, I use B mode just because, you know, it's easier. But you may as well just use the clutch for starting and stopping and stuff, so not really necessary. Does this bike need modes? No, absolutely not. Traction control is great. Traction control 2 really nerfs the power to the wheel. So if your rear wheel starts, even considers to start spinning, it'll cut off the power. A little abrupt from time to time. If you're on the lower revs, or higher revs, it will feel a bit jerky. So it doesn't really save you if you're in the corner and give it too much throttle. Not that I expect that it would, but the traction control 1, I wish it wasn't as it sort of prevents you from doing wheelies. You can do it in first gear, that's pretty much okay, but for some reason when you do clutch ups in second gear, it just cuts the power and rarely will you get up. So I would say if they could somehow make it not as intrusive for wheelies, that would have been better, but I don't expect that, and I would have been really surprised if it was like perfectly tuned to accept wheelies and not rear wheel spin. One of the things that really annoys me about it is that if you turn off the traction control, you have to stand still, completely still, to turn it off. However, you cannot turn it back on while moving. So if you're riding, like let's say you're just being a hooligan, riding around off the traction control, doing wheelies, and you enter an area where there's been like local rain or there's a lot of gravel, you have to actually stop the bike to get it back, to get the traction control back. You don't want to stop like in the middle of the freeway or highways and stuff. So if you're on your way home and you need traction control, you have to literally stop. That's a bit stupid. Yeah, the horn is stupidly placed, and it doesn't exactly sound like a intimidating horn. It's really weak, really weak, but that's to be expected. No surprise really. There's 3 dares. The tank is perfectly shaped. It really, I don't know if you can see that, but you can really get your knees all the way up. You can even like be on the toes of your feet, and still you won't bump into the top of the tank. But if you're like really leaning and you're like leaning off the bike, it sort of helps you stay on the bike. So I'm really happy about the shape. I think that's probably one of the best motorcycle tank shapes that I have been on. The seat is a good and a bad. The thing I love about the seat is that when I want to sit like very upright, I move my butt all the way forward and I'm like completely straight up. But if I want to be a little bit sporty, if I'm riding the freeway a little bit fast, I put my butt all the way back on the seat, or the but in the middle where you're supposed to sit, and you get a little bit of forward lean, about like this. Not much, but enough. And if you really want to ride fast, if you really want to get under the wind, you can put your butt all the way over to the pillion side, and you can get get all the way down, completely touching the tank, and that's a really cool thing. You can get the sport bike seating position, and it feels like the rear brake is actually meant to do that, because no matter what position I'm in, I can always use the rear brake, and I can always change gears. You never you never get too far back or too far forward. So that's actually pretty good. However, after an hour ride, your ass is gonna get sore, really sore. It's painfully sore. I like it, but I do have like 3.5 hour rides, and you'll have to like change positions all the time just to give your butt a break. Probably my favorite thing of the whole bike, other than the engine and the power, etc, etc, and that is actually the foot peg on the right side, because it has a low exhaust. It has like a little bit of a wing on the rear of the peg bracket to prevent you from touching the rear exhaust with your heel. So this is the part that you can have your heel on when you're standing up. You set your heel on this part and you toe on this part, and you have great stability. So standing up is really easy. I can stand on the bike and I can literally put my weight on my heel, and by having that little lip out on the back, standing upright, you have 2 points with pretty good distance between them, so you have exceptionally good control while standing up. You don't have just that one bar under your leg, but you have double on the right side. I wish they actually had that on the left side too, just to have that extra stability. A lot of times I will just stand up while riding just to give my butt a break, and having that rear peg on the heel makes the bike so stable, and I can put my weight on that heel and lean forward and accelerate pretty fast. And because of that positioning being behind, you can really get that balance. I just love it. I wish it had, like I said, I wish they had it on the left side too. The blinkers are horrible. They're one of the worst blinkers I think I've ever seen, heard, or anything else. They're big, they're ugly, and they don't work well. If you turn on the blinkers, the person right in front of you can see you. The person standing at a, I don't know, 20-degree angle from the blinkers themselves lose like, I don't know, 60% of the light, because there's some wave patterns on the front of the blinkers, and they deflect the light, so everything goes forward and nothing goes to the side. I think everyone who has ever ridden a MT-09 has complained about that specific part, and I can't imagine it's such an expensive part to change. Like, why not just add $50 to the price of the bike and give us a pair of really cool LED lights? I think basically everyone would accept that. The chain is weak. It took me the first ride from the shop home, and the chain was already unevenly stretched and bouncing all over the place. And I've heard from a lot of people that the rear chain is horrible, or the chain, there is only one chain. I love the brakes on this bike. Some people say they're squishy, at least the rear brake. I don't find that at all. I think they're perfectly adequate for what they're supposed to be. If you want one of those brakes that you can like skid the rear tire and like slide, yeah, they're probably going to annoy you a bit, because you do have to squeeze them a little bit before they start grabbing, and they are soft, but if you actually like put your foot down, they will lock up the rear tire pretty fast. Same goes for the front wheel, front brakes. I'll give you a quick check here from 60 to 0. That's not pushing it because the road is cold and the tires are potentially cold, and this isn't exactly a clean road, so I could have done it faster. But just for reference, I do the Moto Jitsu black belt emergency braking, which is 25 miles per hour in 15 feet. I do that in probably like 13 and a half feet. So the brakes on this bike will stop you almost to the point where your eyes pop out of your skull. And I like it. They do need a bit of a squeeze. They have like an incremental stage where they brake a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. They don't have that bite of a sports bike, but you don't want that on the street. Yeah, headlights, horrible. They don't do a lot of it's almost night now, and I'm dreading a little bit the road home, because the moment the sun go down, this bike becomes almost dangerous. I don't know how well you can see it here, but I'm gonna ride in the middle here. Yeah, it's about two lanes plus 2 lanes wide from where it hits right now. So how is the bike to ride? The agility is off the charts. The only thing limiting the bike from throwing side to side is basically you not getting thrown off the bike. So the bike itself is super agile. The engine, man. There is not a single thing I can say about this engine other than that it is the greatest engine of all time. I have nothing negative to say. Oh, look at that picture. That's beautiful. I can't say anything negative about the engine. It has oodles of power. And I mean, if I go... There's no one behind me. Nope. If I go down to 3000 RPMs, okay, let's say 2000 RPMs, just to have fun. 2000 RPMs, third gear. I mean, look at that acceleration. Third gear, 2000 RPMs. And that just gets more and more powerful, all the way up to like 9000 RPMs. When you start to feel like the bike starts to lose power. It doesn't actually lose power. But unlike a 4-cylinder, it does have a little bit less power on the top and a lot more power on the bottom. And if you go like 3000 RPMs in third gear, which is like here, you have to hold on. It flies. When I ride like the twisties and I really want to ride, I just keep it in third gear. Unless I'm going below 40 kilometers an hour, there's no problem. Like right now I'm doing 60, 3,500 RPM, almost full power, no problem whatsoever. Power is just insane. And if you do like second gear, full power, yeah, the rear wheel will come up. Or the front wheel, of course, not rear wheel. The front wheel will come up. But the good thing is that you can just put it in 6th gear. Got pretty low RPMs, like 3,280 kilometers an hour. It barely uses fuel. I did a video on the fuel usage here. I'm gonna... Is that over there? Yeah. That's like 3.5 liters per 100 kilometers. I have no idea what that is in miles. I can't remember, but... Oh, I'm going a little slow here. But yeah, you like... anything below 4 is pretty damn good. I would say like the power is great for everything other than like the most insane of track riding. If you really want to be competitive, you're probably gonna have to get a bigger bike. But if you're just a normal person, most likely you can't reach the limits of this bike. Most likely you're gonna be the factor that keeps this bike from being fast. The exhaust, yeah, the stock exhaust, it's so ugly that I didn't even want the bike with it, so I just bought it with an aftermarket exhaust. I know for me the sound and everything is more than enough. I don't need a aftermarket exhaust for the sound, but the look of the stock is just horrible. It looks ugly as shit. It has that huge seam, the welding seam on the side, and they could at least have put that welding seam on the underneath the bike or on the other side, not like facing anyone looking at the bike. It looks so incomplete. It looks like it's a half-assed job. That's what it looks like. So yeah, that's like the only thing I can really complain about, is that half-assed job. So I just got an aftermarket exhaust. I put in a cat and everything. DB killer is 100% on. Nothing cut off or nothing changed, just stock is actually registered and approved with the current aftermarket exhaust. Everything is legal. The clutch, I changed the stock levers because the left lever, the clutch didn't have a adjustability and was pretty far out, and depending on what I'm riding and where I'm riding, I want the clutch to be a little bit closer. Like when I'm doing like city riding, or if like there's traffic and stuff, I like the clutch to be all the way into the handlebar almost when the clutch engages. But when I'm riding like now, or if I'm doing other stuff, I like to have it like all the way out. So I like to have adjustability on the clutch too. So I just got the Titax Evo 10s or Evo X, I'm not sure which works like great. They're Moto 2 and Superbike producers, or they produce parts for those guys. So they're pretty legit racing stuff. I don't put cheap stuff on my bike. That's not gonna happen. Also, I put on the gripper tank grips for the sides. They are very helpful when you're leaning off the bike. However, I don't really lean off the bike, to be honest. Rarely do I ever lean off. That's just for fun, but when I do, I like having it. So yeah, it does a great job once you do that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you. I don't know a lot more that I could say about the bike. It's supposed to be a short video. I think this video is like a 30-minute video at this point, or 40. So I'm just gonna stop it, and I'll probably have to edit and do stuff with this. So yeah, thank you and good night.